Hello, I'm Diana Linville, and in this tutorial we are going to walk through creating the Light Me Up app. Okay, so you can see right here that I'm under the My Projects tab. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click the New Project button to create a new project, and I'm going to name it Light Me Up. Now, this app, what we're creating, is an app that has two buttons that will show a Christmas tree either with lights on it or without lights. So the first thing that we want to do is actually bring over a layout. So we're going to go under the Layout tab in the palettes, and we're going to drag over a horizontal arrangement component. Then within this component, that's where we are going to place our two buttons. So we go back to the User Interface palette, and we're going to drag two buttons over, and we're going to place them inside the horizontal arrangement component. Now, once you place the first button in there, it does tighten around that button. So when you drag the second button, just make sure that you drop it on top of the first button, and it will place it inside of that horizontal arrangement for us. Now the next thing that we want to do is actually change some of the properties on these buttons. The first being we want to rename them. So I'm going to click over here under Components and click on Button 1. And we want to rename these so that we know what button we are working with when we go to program these. So I'm going to name this button Lights On. And on the second button, I'm going to click on button 2, and I'm going to rename that one to button BTN Lights Off. Now, the next thing I want to do is on all three of these components, the horizontal arrangement, the button lights on, and the button lights off, I want to set the width and the height on those. So the first thing I'm going to do is click on horizontal arrangement, and on the width and height, I want to set these to fill parent. And what that does is that it just aligns them inside of their parent component. So I want to do the same thing for button lights on. I want to set the width to fill parent and the height to fill parent. Also on this, I want to take the text and change it because I don't want it to say text for button 1. I want it to say lights space on. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the button lights off, so I need to click on that component, change my text to lights off, and change my width and height to fill parent. And again, you just click inside of these boxes and the little drop-down menus appear. So now I have my two buttons. We've renamed them. We've made them the correct size. So the next part is my two images. I'm going to have one image that is a Christmas tree with lights on it. The other image is a Christmas tree with no lights on it. So we're going to come back over here under the palettes, User Interface. We're going to drag the first image over, and this does not need to go inside the horizontal arrangement. So we're going to drop it below our two buttons. So there's the first image, and I also need a second image. So again, we need to rename these so that we know what we're working with when we go to program it. So I'm going to click on image 1, and we're going to change that to IMG Tree Lights On. And go to image 2, and we're going to rename that IMG Tree Lights Off. So now I've renamed the images. Now I need to get the picture that goes along with these images. So I'm going to go back to my image Tree Lights On component. I'm going to come over here under its properties, and under picture I'm going to click and I'm going to upload the file. And these are the files that you would have got from the course website. It was a zipped file with the pictures in it. I'm going to say choose file, and I'm going to choose the lightson.png file. I'm going to say OK and OK. And now I have my lights on.png. Now you'll notice that the picture is very large and it takes up a lot of screen 1. So we do want to change the width and height on that to 200 pixels. So we'll change the width and the height on that. So now we have a nice smaller image. Now I need to do the exact same thing with the tree lights off image. So I'm going to click on that and I'm going to upload the tree picture with the lights off of it. So lightsoff.png, go open, OK, and OK. And now we have the lightsoff.png. Again, it is very large, so we need to change our width to 200 pixels and our height to 200 pixels also. Okay, so now I have everything in my designer view that I need. So now we need to go and actually program our 2 buttons so that we can use them. So we're going to go up here in the right-hand corner. We're going to go to Blocks. And now we're in our Blocks viewer. So here we're going to come over to our components that are listed under the Screen 1 drawer, and we're going to work with these. The first one that we want to program is the button lights on. So we're going to click on button lights on. We're going to drag when button lights on .click do something. We're going to click and put that into our viewer. Right. So that we have that block now. Now for the lights on, we need to put 3 components inside of here. We need to first say when the lights on is clicked, we want image tree lights on. So I'm going to go to image tree lights on. We want to set image tree lights on .visible, so we need that block, and we want to set that to true. And to get the true block, we go under built-in, and we go to logic, and we drag the true block over and snap that onto the end. So now when the button lights on button is clicked, it's going to set the tree lights on image to visible. Then the tree lights off image, we're going to click on it, and we're going to set the image tree lights off visible. We're going to set that one to false because we do not want that image to appear when the lights on button is clicked. So now we have the lights on image is true and the lights off image visible is false. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to set the button lights off. So we're going to go back to button lights off, and we're going to set its visibility to true. So we need to scroll down a ways, and we need to find set button lights off .visible. We're going to grab that block, snap that in there, and we're going to set that one also to true. So this is the set of blocks that programs the button that says lights on it. So the next thing we need to do is say, well, what is the button lights off going to do? So we go to button lights off, and this time we're going to choose when button lights off .click do something, and we're going to drag that over to the viewer. Now these will not be snapped together. Okay, they are separate components, so we're going to program them separately. Now we're pretty much going to do opposite of what we just did. So we're going to make the tree lights off visibility. We're going to make it true because we want the lights off image to appear. And we want the image tree lights on visibility. We want it set to false. Okay, so again, I'm just going to those components over here, grabbing the correct block, snapping that in there, and then grabbing the correct logic block on the end. And then the last part of this is the button lights on visibility. So we need to go over here to button lights on, scroll way down, find the set button lights on .visible, grab it and snap it into our block and go to logic, and we want to set this to true. Okay, so now when we've programmed our 2 buttons, we have the button lights on so that the lights on image is visible, the lights off image goes away, and the lights off button is able to be clicked. And then for our lights off button, we have the tree lights off image is visible, the tree lights on image does not appear, so it's false, and the button lights on is able to be clicked. So after you've completed this application, this is what your 2 blocks should look like. And at this point, you can go ahead and test your app on either the emulator or on your Android device. So that completes the tutorial on the Light Me Up application.